So we'll go ahead and dive right in. I'm Jessica Valor, and I am honored to be with all of you. I lived in Minneapolis for 10 years, and I moved to Atlanta, it'll be almost 3 years ago. So it's wonderful to reconnect with everyone and Gary and Lake Harriet Spiritual Center community virtually. So I'm really excited to be with all of you. So I want everyone to start. I'm going to ask you to do this. I'm going to introduce myself. I want everyone to just kind of close their eyes for a second and center in together so we can create an energy grid vortex with all of our heart centers. And just take I want you to drop into your heart and just see what intention is living in your heart for you today during this time. What is it that you really wish to receive, create? Maybe you want to let go of something, whatever that is for you, just hold that intention in your heart so we can create that energy of support for everyone individually here today, collectively as a group, and then also to pay it forward into the world. And when you have that intention, I invite you to share it in the chat box. You can type it in if you feel comfortable sharing it there. And so for those of you who do not know me, Jessica Valor, I'm a master spiritual mentor and energy healer. I'm the founder of the Healers Academy, where I support spiritual seekers and also certify coaches, therapists, healers, and to become intuitive guides and master healers for themselves and those that they serve. So really everyone that's on that awakened path. So that's a lot of the work that I do in the world. And, you know, I have a show and podcast and just all the things which you can check out on my website later. And I've been doing this work for 10 years now, since 2011. And I had a spiritual experience and awakening in 2011 where I went to Source. It was a near-death experience, and I met with masters and angels in a ceremony, and they spiritually anointed me and asked me to come back and serve humanity through this awakening and through this ascension by sharing their healing messages and energies and gifts. And that's exactly what I'm doing all these years later. And that's what the Healers Academy is all about, is empowering each of you to activate the love and the wisdom in your own heart. And as you are all aware, we're really going through what can be perceived as turbulent times, right? Pandemic. We have, you know, we're going to talk about this as micro issues, because at the macro level, we're healing the heart of humanity. And at the micro level, we are, you know, curing ailment and disease and everything from our individual self, you know, going through the dematerialization of all these microcosms. So we need to dematerialize the racism, and we need to heal that wound and create a new earth, right? And all of these macro and micros, we're getting them into alignment to create a new earth for really peace, love, prosperity for all beings, right? We have the pandemic and also just dis-ease in general, people suffering in any potential way. Really that we need to cure that and come into homeostasis together as a humanity and also individually. We have politics that aren't working. We have healthcare that's not available. You know, there's all these things that we're all processing, and it can get heavy in that third dimensional perspectives and realities that are there. And these micros are all in that 3D, and we are going through ascension where we're dematerializing it. Well, when we take something down, we, you know, blow up a building and tear it down, we have to rebuild. And it's also a little messy in the process. And so at the macro level, we're all in our fifth dimensional self, right? We're centering into our hearts. We're really connecting to our higher self, and we're funneling that energies down into these micros, the third dimensionals, to heal. I really believe that we're all here to help the world heal. And that first starts with healing ourselves. We have to heal our core wounds. And we're also paying it forward and healing the wounds of our ancestors and our lineages. And that is, you know, all the things, right? It's all the things, mind, body, spirit. So one of the things I want to really help you go through today is a healing and what you're focused on individually, but also, you know, I'm going to give you something to take away that I've been doing through this whole time that's really been helpful as a spiritual practice, to get back into alignment or to stay in alignment. But the biggest thing that Spirit said to me this morning is really focusing on where you're sourcing your energy from. And, you know, my thing is all about leading with love. Like, I believe that love is the greatest force in the universe. You know, Wayne Dyer had it right, love, period. And the period at the end of the sentence was so profound, and everything at the end of his life. He wore this shirt and it said love, period. And I love this because Wayne Dyer was a seeker. He really loved knowledge and learning and dedicated his whole life to studying, being the student and the teacher. And at the end, towards the end of his life, it really was like, it's just love, right? It's just love. There's no more questioning of anything. And so I really, really embody that, because it's so simple, but yet so profound. And also a quote that I love is by Albert Einstein, that we're really going to integrate today and work with our inner alchemists, to know how to lead with love, which is, you know, energy cannot be created or destroyed. It can only be transformed. So we really want to alchemize what's showing up for us in our individual and collective paths right now, with all the things going on out there at the micros. You know, we want to transform this into our gold, into our peace, into our power, whatever your intention is, right? For the things that aren't serving you or serving the world, how can we be in creation and contribution right now, right? And where are we sourcing from? So it's kind of like the denominator is where we're sourcing from, and the numerator is that creation and contribution, right? So we really want to get into alignment and look at what's in balance for us and what's not, and how we can create those shifts. So I pulled a couple of cards, which is fun, because normally when I'm at Lake Harriet Spiritual Center, I'm on the stage and moving around, talking a lot. So I was sitting at my desk. I was like, I'm going to pull a few cards for everyone. And the collective message, it was really cool how it tells a story. And these are oracle kind of cards, but it changes, which is the flower of life, and the flower of life is source, geometry, which is, you know, the divine love, which is masculine, the doing, the consciousness carrier of that love, and the being is the flow of that love. And so it really was cool because it said changes. I think that's so pretty. And we all know we're going through changes. And then transmutation. And there was a lot of fire. There's a lot of fire energy, and we are in Leo season 2, which really helps us gain momentum with the transmutation. And that really feeds that quote that was showing up to share with all of you from Albert Einstein. You're really going to transmute that energy and connect with your inner alchemist right now. And then the archetype that showed up was nectar, which is, you know, archetypes can be kind of people, places, things. And when you're in your light, and this is from Kim Cron's deck, which is really beautiful, you're glowing and relaxed. There's subtle illumination. And I love this. And when you're in the shadow, there's a fixation on fixing and an aggressive approach to healing. And I mean, I just got chills when the card showed up, because it's like, yes, that's exactly what we all need to be focusing on right now, and hearing and embodying and integrating is that state of allowing it to be easy. Let it be easy, relaxing into these changes, which can kind of seem like, well, what are you talking about, Jess? That sounds totally crazy. These are like insane times and all these things are going on. But it really is, are we going to be sourcing from anger and frustration, or are we going to be sourcing from love to create a positive momentum, to create the new earth for our individual and our collective here? Because this is exactly what we came to the planet to do. We've been priming for this for the past 20 years, 100 years, right? And we've come here and we're literally in the midst of an ascension shift. Like, it's actually physically happening in front of our eyes. The year of 2020, clear vision, right? There is light being shown on everything that is corrupt in our world that we will no longer tolerate for ourselves or our brothers and sisters on the planet or the animals or anything. Everything must change now, and we have to be the catalyst for that change. And so I love this because when you think about nectar, it's your essence, right? It's your essence, and essence is the godlike quality of anyone or anything. So the nectar of a flower, right? That you feel like the nectar of a juice, like it's the center core quality elements. And that is literally what we're going to use in the guided healing. And I think it's so cool that this card showed up, this message for everyone, because that's how I do ascended healing, is I work with all the combined essences of angels, masters, or a tree, or whatever it may be. So when I take you through this process, you're going to learn how to connect with essences so you can practice that or bring it into your daily life, right? And start to work with that. As we want to connect with the essence of all the simplicity that's available to us, because that really is the most powerful elements for us to be sourcing from right now. And it's not that we're not turning away from what's quote, quote, wrong in the world, but we're going to approach it differently, not aggressively, but sourced from love. How can I be in a creative contribution, right, for myself and others? How can I allow this to be easy? And when I say easy, I don't mean life is easy. Life is always going to be hard. Life has been hard. Life is going to be hard. There will be times when it's not as hard, right? But we're always going to have challenges and mountains to climb, which is why we came here. Mountain after mountain after mountain, right? And you do get to the top of a mountain and you're like, wow, and you're chilling out and you're relaxing there, but you want to go climb another mountain, right? We're here to heal. We're here to ascend. But even though things can be hard, times can be hard, days or years or whatever it is, we can allow our frequency, right, our inner alchemist, our energy to approach it with ease, to approach it with grace, to approach it with love, so that we're not being pulled down into the third dimensional frequencies of the experience. So we're operating and navigating from the higher self at that 5-dimensional macro, and we're in that contribution creativity. And I think right now, you know, it's because there's so many micros kind of blowing up in our faces all the time, and you don't know where to source from. And I'm certainly not telling anyone where to source from, but you want to source from places and spaces that feel good, right? You want to stay informed, but you don't want to get pulled down into the density of the third dimensional experience. And I want to speak on emotions too before we go into the next part of this. Your emotions aren't your identity. Okay, and we've been programmed by the world and society that our emotions are our identity, and they're not. You're a multidimensional being. You have a mental body, an emotional body, a physical body, an energy body with many aspects. Your chakras, your hara line, your meridians, your nadis. You have your entire energy matrix and field and your auric field. Like, there's so many elements to every single person. You are this powerful, divine, multidimensional being. Your emotions are like your GPS, right? To come back home to yourself, or really a reminder. Emotions show up if they're unpleasant emotions, sad or anger, to bring wherever love is not flowing. It's an expression of where love is not flowing. And we're processing a great deal of grief as a collective right now, as well. And we're breaking up with the entire old paradigm, and we're all being reborn into this new field, this new energy field, this new frequency. And so there's a lot of grief we're processing, but grief is unexpressed love, right? Where is love not flowing? And so I want everybody to maybe write that down, like, where in my mind, my body, my spirit, my relationships, my life, my work, where is love not flowing? Where is love not flowing freely for me? Because this ties into letting it be easy, right? So you're going to feel emotions, but processing emotions doesn't have to be hard. But that's where we get triggered and we start to source out of fear and old wounds versus sourcing out of love, right? So I want you to take stock of where love is not flowing, because that's going to bring attention to where you may have a wound that needs your attention, that needs your own self energy healing, right? That needs you to pay attention so you can alchemize that doubt, wound, fear back into your true power, which is sourced from unconditional love, right? So I want everybody to kind of just take a moment here and write those down. I'll just give you a minute. And then if you feel comfortable, you can share what your intention was, or your intention might not be the same as like what your biggest challenge is right now. It could be individually or just what you're processing with all the collective pain and ascension. It may be a question. It can be anything, and share it in the chat box, because during the healing, I'd like to hold space for you, and see what's really going on in your head and your heart. Again, you don't have to share that in the chat box, but if you feel called, know that I'm here to hold space for your specific focus of challenge or intention or whatever is showing up for you. So take another moment here to do that. Okay, thank you for sharing. Yeah, couple people dealing with some chronic pain. It's really a challenge. I've been there. I absolutely understand. This is good. I'm going to work with Kuan Yin and compassion today around that. Anyone else? And you can share privately too, because people are sending me some private messages if you don't want your name showing up. Okay. Okay. So want some more love flowing in home with loved ones and friends. Beautiful. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to give you guys your takeaway kind of homework to give everybody a little more time to share in there. Okay, so we have another person that just shared that recently lost their son and processing the grief. So thank you for sharing. I'm so sorry for your loss. So I'm going to give you guys the homework kind of takeaway, your spiritual integration, before we go into the healing. That way, if you feel all like you're staying in your meditative state towards the end, you can just kind of fall off the call. And those of you who want to stay around and have a question for me, of course, I'm here to answer any questions. So we have a couple other people here releasing some anxiety. Yeah. There's a lot of that pins and needles energy because there's so much going on. This is something I'm in the process of breaking up with, is the word practice, which is really interesting, right? Because practice means I don't yet know how to do it, or I'm not love, right? Or I'm not, right? It's still somehow, and I used to say it all the time, like we're building this spiritual practice, and I'm still correcting my language around that word, but it's not the I am, right? And so when you say I am, not like I'm practicing this, no, I am doing this, then you are doing it, and you're going to continue to strengthen every single day. So what I want you to write down now is I'm going to give you literally, this is how I journal every morning. It's really simple, but also very powerful. It's very specific. So the first thing I write in the morning is I write feel, F-E-E-L. And then I write all the things I'm feeling, the good, the bad, the ugly. I tend to usually start with the good, but you don't have to do it that way. If there's something that's dissatisfying to me, like, oh, I'm feeling a frustration and I'm feeling a tension in my shoulders, or like I'm processing this chronic pain. And then underneath that, all right, I am committed to, right, surrendering and releasing this pain or this frustration. I give it over to Source, God, to dissolve on my behalf. right? Or I'm going to meditate to let this go, or I'm going to move my body, or whatever your thing is, right? There could be tons of things there. As opposed to just saying, I feel this frustration. How are we going to be in accountability for it today and present to flow love to it, right? Whatever it may be, the grief, the anxieties that people are sharing, the tension between loved ones, right? So whatever's dissatisfying, let's become master alchemists and healers and take accountability for it. So that's kind of the first section. Mine tend to flow with like, I feel really grateful about XYZ. I feel really excited about today and about this, my future. And you may not even feel excited, but I still write it because it literally immediately shifts my energy to feel excited about my day. And I also am sharing these two different ways around feeling, because you can feel grateful and joyful and happy and excited and still have other things show up, right? It's not about being some positive person all the time, right? It's about knowing how to process your emotions as they show up. And this gets back to your identity isn't your emotions, right? You can feel sadness and anger, but also feel really grateful and happy and all these things. We want to continue to transform. Why are these emotions here? Where are they bringing me back home to myself? Who can I be? What can I do? Right? So feel is the first section. And y'all, this general exercise takes me like 10 or 15 minutes every morning. It's not long. So feel, write that. The second piece to this is then I write, who will I be and what will I do today? This is really important because what source God is unconditional love. And there are two aspects: the divine feminine, which is the flow of the love, the divine masculine, which is the consciousness and the carrier of this love, which is the action, the being and the doing. So who will I be today and what will I do? And that's where I write out, like, who am I going to be? I'm going to be pure love to myself and others. And I have a rule: may no one ever leave me not knowing that they are loved, right? That's a rule I have. And I also have a rule every day. At the end of the day, I ask myself, did I lead with love? Did I lead with love in my mind and my thoughts for myself and others? Did I lead in love with my emotions and process them in a loving way and stay free of judgment of myself and others? Did I love my body today and nurture her and care for her with good food and clean water, right? Did I move her, right? And did I love today in my relationships and in the collective in the world? And did I serve from a space of love? Did I love today? Did I lead in love, right? And finding that rhythm for you. And this helps you to reprogram your subconscious and your DNA by staying committed, not in practice, but committed to the embodiment of love in every breath, every thought, every emotional process, every action, everything you do, being sourced again from unconditional love, which is what you're made from. So you are godlike quality. You are of the feminine and the masculine divine. You are that. So it's awakening it within your cellular and DNA. So that's what's active, not the third dimensional stuff. You're breaking up with that. It's no longer your truth. It's never really been your truth, but you're no longer going to participate in that as truth, right? So, so then who am I going to be? I'm going to be love. I do a thing with the sunshine because the sunshine's really radiant. And I feel like the sunshine represents God and love to me. So I'm just like, I'm going to feel like the sunshine is in every cell in my body, right? I'm going to, just be kind, whatever, who am I going to be? And then what am I going to do? And those are those top like 3 priorities for the day, whether they're in business or personal or whatever it may be, right? And I'm going to do all that from that space of creativity and contribution and love. And then the next thing you write is the vision. This is the third piece to it. And you vision, I'm sure a lot of you have done vision casting before, but if you never have, it's feeling the energy of the experiences that you want to have, right? And so if there's something that you're wanting to quote manifest or create or experience, I like the word experience, then you want to write it down like it's already done. So it's like, I just had the most amazing day, or with such and such on the beach, and get specific about what it is for you. And, how did you feel? What were you wearing? What did you eat or drink? And who was there? And how was the sun or the weather? Really get specific for yourself. And then just sit in your meditation for a few minutes and really close your eyes and feel the energy, because this is going to shift the actual frequency in your entire field. But it's really going to help you start to unlock stuck energy out of the body. And so this process is really simple but profound. And commit to it for like 30, 60, 90 days and see what happens, because it's pretty powerful. And I love that it's simple. I don't like giving people a lot of work to do. Let's keep it simple, because it's all based on how we can get you to feel, right? So someone else shared prayers for some addiction that's showing up in the family, and releasing feelings of loss from betrayals and hurt. And then, yes, so it is your intention or your challenge. Those might be different for some people. So focusing on love instead of fear. Perfect. That's exactly what we're doing. Great. So that'll be your spiritual practice. So you can see, I'm correcting myself, your spiritual integration that you'll take and start to do every day. And just remember how powerful you are with that you can literally change everything in your life, your mind, your body, your spirit. I'm literally walking, living proof that can happen. So I know it's possible. I've seen thousands of people do it. So whatever isn't in alignment for you, isn't working for you, isn't serving you, absolutely can transform your energy, your experience. And then you kind of watch everything as an observer in the external, whether it's within your personal relationships or the external world. You start to observe different because you're operating out of the 5D instead of the 3D. You're not getting sucked down here in the density of the experience. So I hope that serves you. So let's go ahead and close our eyes, and we'll get into the meditation healing. And then at the end, if you guys want to fall off, go ahead and stay in your state of wherever you are with the healing, or if you have questions, I'll be here to answer them. So everybody close their eyes. And take a few deep breaths. I want you to inhale through your nose. It could be a slow count of 3 today. Maybe it's 5 for you. And when you inhale through your nose, I want you to allow the belly to rise. You're going to breathe down into the base of the belly. And as you exhale through the nose, letting the belly fall. Inhale. Exhale. I want you to stay centered in on your breath with your eyes closed. And we're going to invoke all of the high realm council, God source consciousness, the angels and the masters, to come forward and gather around us in a sacred ceremony today. And today is the day of the second ray, which is the flame of illumination and wisdom. And the gift coming through is to activate your divine intelligence, your divine wisdom, viscerally through your body, cellularly, through your DNA and every particle of your energy. And they're going to bring in the sacred geometric pattern of the flower of life. And they're going to bring that and activate it as a pulsing, alive energy into every cell in the body. And then also into every chakra. So placing that flower of life into the crown chakra at the top of the head. Placing the flower of life into the third eye, and also into the pineal gland in the center of the brain, to activate your pineal gland so that you're sourcing from your higher self and divine wisdom with peace and clarity, Bringing that flower of life into the eyes, the nose, the mouth, the ears, and the throat, so that you receive information from a space of the divine, removing any and all triggers and dissolving all energies that do not serve you out of your body and your being now. Archangel Michael present as always, opening a blue vortex of light all around you so that everything you release today is recycled back to pure love. Bringing that flower of life activation into the heart chakra now, opening up the heart chakra, and allow everything to release with ease and grace. And bringing that flower of life activation into the solar plexus in the center of your abdomen. Clearing any distractions, any energies that are taking you out of your personal power that is sourced from love. Bringing that flower of life, which is truly God's love, source, unconditional love, into your sacral chakra, clearing any energies that do not serve you, any entanglements, dissolving all these old dense energies, so you can be in flow, connected to your creativity, abundant, feeling free and joyful. Bring that flower of life into the root chakra, the base of the spine. Clearing any energies that are stuck from you feeling totally aligned with your divinity and feeling that divine love, the peace, the compassion, the freedom, the joy, the prosperity, all of the intentions that you have that are divine. So they may be anchored and grounded in now for you into the heart chakra of Mother Earth, clearing anything in the way. Bringing that flower of life also into the star chakra that is underneath your feet, that connects you to the earth. Good. And now Archangel Haniel is coming forward. Archangel Haniel is the angel of purification. And she's flooding your entire body and being with this purification ray of light. It almost looks kind of like a waterfall, if you were standing under a waterfall of purified light, and allowing it to wash away anything that does not serve you. So I want you first to scan your mind, your mental body, those thoughts that aren't serving you. They may be yours or someone else's. That programming that you want to release, releasing those old stories, your individual stories from all the wounds you've had, all those experiences that were unpleasant, and all of the collective, all that old programming that is broken and not of divine truth. It's limiting, releasing all of that limitation now, allowing it all to flood out of your out of your mind, out of your subconscious. And that purification ray of light flooding your emotional body now and dissolving all old emotions that do not serve you, clearing out the grief and clearing out the loss, the fears, the frustration, the worries, the disconnection, the pain, the suffering, and not only clearing it from the emotional body, clearing it from every aspect of your physical body, clearing your organs, your glands, your cells, your systems, purifying your blood, your cardiovascular system with purified light, flooding your lymphatic system with purified light, your digestive system with purified light, your muscles, your bones, your fascia, completely released, relaxed, all aspects of your body and being, releasing all pain and suffering, all stuck emotion with ease. Feel your mind, your body unwinding. Feel that purification flooding through every system of your body, every organ, every gland, every cell, and flooding your DNA, every particle of energy that creates you, every subatomic particle saturated with compassion, divine love, divine wisdom, and purification. Every chakra flooded with purification, divine love, divine will, compassion. Kuan Yin, the ascended master of compassion, coming forward, placing her hands, one at your heart and one at your abdomen, your solar plexus. She's gifting you her essence of compassion. So you have compassion of self, compassion for yourself. To know that in every moment you can surrender and flood compassion to the mental, emotional, physical body, all aspects of your being. And we're just allowing that compassion to saturate into every part of you. Flooding your heart line, which runs to the center of your being all the way up to source, with compassion, self-compassion. Beautiful. Now we're going to activate the divine masculine within your cells too, for that creativity, commitment, for contribution. So the actions that you'll take for yourself and others from a space of neutrality, balance, love. Not the pushing, doing, but the calm doing, contribution. And they're actually going to bring in the sacred geometry of the torus, Torus, to support this activation for you. Bringing that into every cell in the body, every chakra. representing that unity consciousness with the Taurus. There's no separation. And Lord Lanto, the Ascended Master and the Chohan of the second ray of illumination and wisdom, is now activating that flame through the Hora line as well. And also that illumination of wisdom, illumination and wisdom flame through your meridians, all your meridian lines. So it's just at the same time as it's activating, it's dissolving all programming that is not of your highest good and truth. So any pains or sufferings at all in any fashion or form to be completely dissolved now. And we also ask that the energies that you have with any other people in your lives that are not of the highest divine truth, love, and light also be dissolved now. We invoke Archangel Michael to place protection with Ganesh around your energy field. So you feel anchored in this blessing, these gifts today, this healing, these essences and energies you're receiving, and safe and strong to expand your field. We always protect from source, which is love, not fear. So they're creating a protection grid around you that's of divine coding, where only love and that which you wish to invite in may enter your field. So really be clear with your intention now, what you wish to receive in experiences, people, in your own mind, body, spirit, contribution. Hold that vision in your entire body now. Feel the frequency of it. Now imagine that there's just this beautiful illuminated gold and white light. As you're glowing as bright as the sun in every chakra, this orb of light, in every cell in your body, this orb of light, in every organ, gland, system, in every particle of your energy. Just glowing, you are illumination. You are the illumination of God. You are the representation of the quality of that divine love. It is what you are created from, as a seed of light, of that divine love, that divine will. You are illumination. Embodying that illumination. Bringing you into a full alignment with your divine intelligence now. So everything you source from is from your higher self and from Source God consciousness. That your programming is only from the divine. That you find the nectar in the simplicity of all of the daily joys. That you discover in exciting ways how you'll choose to creatively contribute the angels and the masters, God Source consciousness, all here in honor of you. bowing to you, loving you for your life here on earth, for participating in ascension, for being present, for showing up, for healing yourself and others, for every thought you think is contributing to the collective, to all of humanity. So allow your thoughts to lead in love. Allow yourself to process your emotions from a space of love and empowerment so that you contribute that forward to all of us. And their last message is that I am you, you are me, and we are a family. We are a soul family. We're all interconnected in our beautiful heart chakras and the divine love flowing. And we are invited to treat ourselves with divine love as we would treat others with divine love. We're in the time of this full transparency of clear vision. We're no longer can anything hide from us because it is the calling that we have the power over it, a power sourced from love. And the gifts you're receiving today from the divine will stay with you over the months to come. And that you can call upon anyone from this high realm at any time to surround you and to know you're never alone and deeply loved. There are thousands and thousands, if not infinite, beings, benevolent beings, loving you, supporting you at all times. They've made it their infinite commitment to hold space for you. That is how deeply loved you are. So I'll invite everyone, if you feel ready, as we thank all of the divine for their support today, you can settle back in your body. If you feel like you wish to stay in your meditation and fall off the call, feel free to do that. If you feel like you would like to stay and you have something you'd like to share that showed up for you or a question for me, then I am here to hold that space for you.